Are you truly actually harnessing the power of data and artificial intelligence to transform or run your business? My name is KK, and I'm here to show you exactly how to do that. I have been a chief data officer for companies large and small. I am a practitioner, I am a top executive, but I am a practicing expert in artificial intelligence and data. You can check out my website, datadon.co. There are white papers there. Everything is free. You do not have to pay me a penny. I am just doing this so that I can share my knowledge with everybody. So let's get started. Data really is the lifeblood of a business. It can be used to both understand how the business is performing today, in the here and now, and also to understand what are the new opportunities. Where should we go next? What are the risks? What are the threats that might be coming down the road? So there are two sides of using data. One is understanding how the business is today and where does the business need to go next. What that means really is that there is a analysis part and there is a forecasting part. You can use data for reporting. You can use data to analyze what the current performance is, how things are working right now, the here and now of it. But then you can also use that data in order to do predictive analytics, in order to forecast where the data is telling us the business is going, where the customer is going, where the product is going, where the environment might be changing to. So data can be used for both analysis, understanding where it is today, and forecasting where the business is going next. Now, how is data actually used in business? This first part that we talked about, the current performance understanding, it allows you to inform better tactical decisions in the here and now. You really need to understand how is that business actually doing, what are the current trends, and how should I be reacting to them. It's no use if it doesn't actually create actionable insights. So the most important thing is really understand how the business is doing and create not just insights, but actually actionable insights that you can actually act on right now. The other part of how data is used in business is to make predictions, to forecast ahead. This is how we actually guide the planning, the strategy build. This is how we prepare based on how the trends are and based on what we predict is going to happen next. And this is also how we actually use data for future product development. We understand where things are right now and we understand what we need to do in order for the best possible product to be built for the future. Now, everybody talks about artificial intelligence today. And the question is, how do you use AI in business? Well, at a very, very high level, what AI does is it actually builds on top of the available data. This could be data that's your business's own data. It could be data from outside. Models can be trained on your data or on data from other people beforehand. But the bottom line is AI takes decisions, helps you make decisions for that business. It can simplify and make efficient the way that you run your business, or you can also use AI decisions to actually drive growth. So it can be twofold: simplify, make efficient, or drive growth and revenue. And you can do both, and you can do more. Now, let's take an example. I love hats, as you can see. So we'll take an example of a fictitious retailer called Fedora Don, because KK likes fedoras. Fedora Don has a website. Fedora Don has customers. Well, the reporting part of it could be used to understand who those customers are, understand what do those customers browse, what do those customers actually put in the shopping cart, what do they actually put in the shopping cart but don't buy, what do they actually put in the shopping cart and actually complete the buying process. What is the value of that customer? Not just today, not just for that one transaction that they have done, the one fedora that they have purchased, but what is that customer's lifetime value? What is that customer worth to the company for their entire lifetime, whether the lifetime might be 6 months or 6 years? And then how does that lifetime value compare to the acquisition cost of that customer? We got that customer somehow. We had to spend some time, money, and effort to get that customer. How does that compare to the lifetime value of the customer? As you can see with this example of Fedora Dawn, these are all things that tell us what that customer is, who that customer is, why they're important to us. Now, Fedora Dawn sells fedoras. So it's important to understand those products, to understand what are those popular hats, what is the margin every time a hat is sold, and what is the cost of the goods sold. That's what will let you understand the margin. Where are these products shipped to? Is it people in the US who are buying this? Is it people in China? Is it people in Europe? Is it people in Spain? Where are we actually selling these things to? And who is buying it? And why are they buying it? As you can see, the customer and the product are two sides of the same coin. But it is when the two come together is when we actually start understanding how that business is doing. And our data will tell us that. Now, for any online retailer, it's important to do predictive analytics to understand what are those growth areas for that customer? What are those future buying behaviors that we should be prepared for? It also protects us by predicting where the potential risks could be, where the potentials for fraud could be, and of course, prepares us for inventory needs, forecasting how much to be purchased, how much to be prepared to be sold based on past behavior. So as you can see, for any retailer, we've taken the example of an online retailer here, but for any business, it's really important to use that data to understand how the business is working today and what the future behavior is going to be. Now, in order to enhance this decision making using this data, you need to have three different things. One is you need to have access to trustable data. When you have access to trustable data, then you can take better business decisions. What this means is you need to have governance. You need to have the ability to tell whether you can trust the quality of that data. Is that data something that you can make business decisions based on? There's also the need for infrastructure to manage this data. So where are you going to store this data? You need that governance. You need to protect your customers' privacy. And then, of course, you need to have democratization of data. What that means is you want to be able to allow people across the company to actually understand the data, to understand where it exists, to have catalogs, to be able to search that data, to be able to find that data. You need that decision making to be democratized. Now, what data can this business actually access? Typically, the data that the business can access could be internal data, data that's created by the business. This could be things that we saw before. So the customer data, the product data, the sales data. You can also have data coming from your finance and from your HR and from many other corporate functions. So that's the internal data that the business can access, and you have a lot more control over that data. But then there's also external data. There's third-party customer data, data that you can purchase. There's also things like weather, there's economic outlook, trends. In the case of the Fedora Dawn, as an example, what are the fashion trends saying? What are some of the fashion influencers saying about that hat? And a lot of this external data needs to be brought in to our systems using the same data infrastructure that we were talking about earlier, and then combined or used to enhance the internal data. And that's the data that your business can access in order to take decisions. Now, as you build all of these things, you actually need to build a data and artificial intelligence strategy. What do I mean by that? You need to have two sides of this picture. One is the infrastructure. How are you going to collect that data? How are you going to store that data? How are you going to process it? How are you going to get the analysis? How are you going to understand what that data is telling you? And then on the other side, you need the machine learning and the artificial intelligence, which is you need to look across the company and say, where are we going to be able to make the most impact? Based on the impact, you need to work backwards and say, I'm going to select these use cases to start with. Maybe they might be low-hanging fruit. Maybe they are the most important for your customer. but only you and the business can take that decision. Once you've got both sides, you've got a strategy. One for the data infrastructure, how are we going to collect, store, process this data, and one for the machine learning and artificial intelligence. Which use cases are we actually going to use in order to make the biggest impact for the business? Now, it, all of this might make you think that you need some real technical experts in order to use the data. Well, technical expertise does help, yes, but in today's day and age, it is not always necessary. What I would challenge you is, if you're a business person, whether you're starting out in business or whether you are early stage in a bigger company, you don't need technical experts always to help. What you can do is you can do a lot of things with cloud-based infrastructures. Don't get me wrong. In order to pull that data into a system, you need data engineers. In order to actually make sure that governance is there, you need people who are working on governance. You need people who can visualize. You need people who can actually do the machine learning operations. You need people to train machine learning models, etc., etc. There is a lot that you can do if you have the right technical expertise. But don't let that stop you. There is a lot that you can do without actually knowing a lot of that technical expertise. And that's because a lot of these things exist today. You can purchase most of that infrastructure from your favorite infrastructure vendor, and this is all in the cloud, so you don't need to buy a single server. You can use your own laptop. You can use anything that can access the internet, and you can get a lot of this technical expertise online and help from these vendors who are providing these cloud infrastructure. Of course, if you have questions, you're always welcome to go to datadom.co and send us your queries as well. So as you have seen, data and artificial intelligence can transform your business, but it all starts by putting together a data and AI strategy, understanding what impact does that business actually need, where is my data, where am I going to store it, what are the machine learning use cases I'm going to put, what's the governance I'm going to put around it. All of this in order to create that actionable insight from that raw data so that the business can do better. Follow datadon.co for more information. We'll keep putting some of these tutorials out there for you. You're always welcome to follow us on LinkedIn or connect with us, ask us your questions directly. Until next time, this is KK signing off. Thank you very much.